What a way to close out the 2023 slate. Going into the new year, Black and Gold still have a stop at the postseason 23-13 victory over Tampa Bay. Bobby, pretty impressive outing for the Black and Gold when they needed it most.
Yeah, listen, all you can control is your next game and what performance you put out there. Listen, the game shouldn't even have been this close. When you +4 in the turnover margin, I don't know, that should have been like a 23-3 type game. And ended up being 23-13. But when we get to that's bugging me, I'll tell you what's bugging me. Like Dennis Allen said, you can't let them get behind you. And because the clock is your friend. You can't give up chunk plays like 2-play drives and stuff like that. I'm glad Trey Palmer fumbled on that one. But look how wide open he was. I'll talk about that later. But, we've been opportunistic overall this year. Now, 7 games, we've had at least 2 or more takeaways. That's a vast improvement over last year. When you consider you want to protect the football and you want to take it away. So now, if you look at it, the Bucs came into the game +10, which was tied for number 1 in the league. So they are +6. And now, all of a sudden, we go from +4 to +8. No, so we should be better than the 500 team with those kind of numbers. But it is what it is. The one thing I thought overall, I thought they would have sacked Derek Carr more, but you got to give him a lot of credit. When you look at sacks and what occurs, they had 1 sack and we had 2 sacks. They came into the game with 44 sacks, and we had 31. So that was a surprise, even though Ryan Ramczyk being out and who we plug and play on the offensive line, the Kentucky kid. What's his name? The one that got hurt.
Landon Young.
Landon Young gets hurt, and all of a sudden we bring in the veteran from Florida State, and I mean he was outstanding. Now I forgot his name.
Cam Irving.
Cam Irving. Not Cam Jordan. Cam Irving. Yeah. So when I look at that, the guy stepped up. Look at John Abram. And what he did, taking advantage of his opportunity to play. That was truly a diamond in the rough, even though he's a former first-round draft pick, but taking advantage of his opportunity to play. The one thing, Bucs fans cannot say anything really overall to Saints fans. Because, when you get into argument and all that, or you're just saying, well, all I know is there's no other team in the NFL that the Saints have beaten more. So we've now played them 64 times, and we've won 40 and lost 24. So it's almost 2-1. So that's the team, the franchise that the Saints have beaten the most, that being the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, at a 40-24 record. And we've been road warriors for sure in Tampa. We played 28 times and we won 18. So we're 18-10. So that's all good to show you. Now, can Carolina help us out and beat Tampa Bay? I don't know if that's going to happen. But we'll look and see. All you can do, again, you got to take care and beat the Falcons next week. And then you still got to you're saying we have a chance. You still have an outside chance. But I thought it was outstanding how we started the game. I almost wanted to set the tone. That not so much, defer and then you get the ball to start the second half. I'm glad we got the opening kickoff and what occurred because it couldn't have been a better start. We went 14 plays, 73 yards. The drive was right under 8 minutes, 7 minutes, 56 seconds. That was Carter, Juwan Johnson, 4-yard touchdown. We're up 7-0. But that's how you keep the crowd out of the game. And that was actually, I said this at halftime, that was actually the first touchdown on an opening possession in 16 games.
Say what?
Like in the past, when we were playing before 7, we were playing 16 games. Seems like we do that at least 8, 9, 10 times a season. But that was the first time opening possession touchdown in 16 games. And then we go out there on defense, and we're able to force a 3-and-out. I think we'd have forced back-to-back 3-and-outs. But then, Brian Brzee ended up getting that face mask penalty, and he had a sack. Then Alante Taylor I look at them. We had illegal contact by Debo, but then Alontae Taylor came up with an interception. So that was his first interception in his career. Remember last year against the 49ers, he had a pick six. His first interception, and it didn't count. We had a block in the back or something on the return, or something happened before. No, Holden. That DB ain't even here no more. I can't even think of his name. Who ended up causing that Alontae Taylor not to get his first pick. But finally got that monkey off his back and a first career interception of his career. I thought overall, though, the Saints set the tone. You can hear the Tampa Bay Buccaneers fans were booing. So some Saints fans are not the only one that boo. I mean, I'm sure they were booing in Philadelphia. The Eagles lost to the Cardinals. Look at the Cardinals. To show you the NFL and how tough it is, any given Sunday, they cliche. The Cardinals have now beat the Cowgirls and the Eagles in the same season. Aren't they considered right there with the 49ers amongst the best in the NFC?
Right.
Well, I guess the moral of the story is you don't want to play the Cardinals, or you better show up. But I thought we set the tone. If you look at it, we had the ball over 13 minutes more than the Tampa Bay Bucks. I thought that was significant when you break that down. I thought our defense has been outstanding on third down. They were only 2 of 8, 25%. We've stayed in the top 5 third down defense throughout the season. Now, red zone and goal to go, there's 2 different scenarios. Red zone is like they haven't stretched it, like 20-yard line on in. Sean Payton sometimes say 25-yard on in red zone, but it's really the 20-yard line on in, and then goal to go. Okay, you're inside the 10-yard line. Now, red zone ended up being 1 of 3, 33%. But goal to go this year, we have been outstanding. When we get goal to go, we're 100% today, 1 for 1. Charlie, you can look that up, but I want to say we might have had goal to go scenarios off the top of my head. I don't know, 9, 10, 11, 12, and we only got stopped once when it's been in, without getting a touchdown. We get inside the touchdown in the 10-yard line, we've been scoring touchdowns, and we've been outstanding, and that was the case today, going 1 for 1. Now, we attempted to run the ball. We had the lead. You should. Alvin Kamara wasn't available. When he was available, Alvin Kamara, he averaged like 4.5 yards a run, like he hurt his ankle. But we ran the ball 35 times and still only averaged 3.1. You just 1 more yard. It's amazing how much 4.1 would sound. But you know what? I think they only ran the ball 15 times, but overall, I think that was pretty good for our defense, giving up 3.8. But that was the key. +4 turnover margin. Baker Mayfield had a couple of interceptions. Derek Carr protected the football. And they had 2 fumbles, and they lost both their fumbles. So in that regard, that was outstanding. Now, looking at individual numbers, Jamal Williams, I thought he was running hard. He basically doubled Alvin Kamara's carries because Alvin went down with his ankle injury in the second half. But Alvin ran the ball 10 times for 45 yards, 4.5-yard average. Jamal Williams, 19 carries, 58 yards, 3.1. But I thought he was running hard. So when I look at that, now when you look at the all-purpose yards, because 2 of the best in the NFL was in this game, Rashid Shaheed and Rashad White. So you look at Rashid Shaheed, he had 82 total yards. I thought he was outstanding in the return game. When you look at that, he averaged 13.5 yards of punt return. He's been amongst the top 3 throughout the NFL season. So I look at that. He had a 27 long kickoff return. Normally you don't see that. But that was outstanding. Lou Hedley punting the ball right at 45 yards net. So I think that was a net. But anyway, it was right around 45 yards, I think. That goes a long way. But looking at Rashid Shaheed, 82 total yards. Rashad White for Tampa Bay, who's amongst the best, he had 66 total yards. He's as much a threat as a pass-receiving running back than running the football. He had 11 carries, 42 yards, 3.8 average. Now, Edmonds Diller back basically averaged 5.5 yards a carry, but only 3 attempts. But Rashad White, as a pass-receiving running back, he had 4 catches, 4 targets, 4 catches for 24 yards, but only a long gain of 7. So when you compare like who's contributing all-purpose yards, and Jamal Williams had 71 because he was involved with 4 targets, 4 catches. Now Alvin Kamara had 49 total yards, Taysom 42, and like I said, Shaheed with 82, and then Rashad White 66 total yards. But the one thing that was puzzling, I thought it was overall outstanding defense, and I'm going to talk about this later. You want me to say it for what's bugging me? I'm not going to say that right now.
Yeah, we'll save it.
You can kind of guess. I'll give a hint. Oh, like chunk plays, splash plays. What? Oh, we got gash. That's why Tampa Bay came back into the game by those unbelievable like big plays, and you cannot afford to have that, especially with a lead. You know, you might say, well, you don't want to play too soft. You still want to be aggressive, but you still can't let them burn you and get behind you. But anyway, looking on the defensive side, Pete Warner, I would say this might be the first game of the season. He led the team in tackles. He had 9 total tackles, 8 unassisted. I thought he was very active. He had a tackle for a loss also. I'm not going to reveal the diamond in the rough, but I'm going to give a little hint. Abram, you look like 5 total tackles, interception, forced fumble, pass defended. So it was very active. I would say more active than if we'd have had, because he's been more opportunistic than Jordan Howland in there. You know, Honey Badger's in there.
Illness.
Yeah, and then Marcus May, obviously, we know he's been hurt. But Abram playing alongside Honey Badger, Tyrann Mathieu, took advantage of his opportunity. Now, the 2 players, one a rookie, and he's been pretty consistent throughout the year, and he had that penalty at the beginning. Brian Brzee, I thought he was outstanding. He had a sack, a quarterback hurry, a tackle for a loss. But you know who's kind of turned the corner? And I think we got to figure this out. He has to rush the passer. Don't put him in coverage. That's what he did at Wisconsin. Zach Bond.
Right.
It's like, okay, no. When I see this, okay, he led the team in quarterback hurries, and he was tied for tackle for loss. Well, he ended up with a sack, 2 quarterback hurries, a tackle for loss, and also a special teams unassisted tackle. I think that was on that kickoff card that I told you. Well, see, that's a nice tackle by Zach Bond right there. And Levante David, for them, that didn't surprise me. He had 11 total tackles. LSU's own Devin White had 7 total tackles and a tackle for loss. But the Saints outplayed Tampa Bay. The Saints deserved to win. Now, it should have been a lot easier than it was at the end. How you had them down, and, you know, when you got them down, you want to kick them when they're down. The whole thing, you want to step on their neck, you know, kind of thing. The old cliches are put the nail in the coffin, you know, put your boot heel on their neck. We kind of let them up, but we still, well, it could have been a little different how that 2-point play went, considering it was not a double penalty, considering they would have had a chance where an onside kick was. But good for Foster Morrow recovering that, and then you could just kneel down and game's over. But an outstanding win. Tampa Bay was playing to solidify their hosting and winning the NFC South, and the Saints said not so fast. Now they'll have that opportunity against Carolina, and it's going to be a shame. I don't know what's going to happen, but you beat Atlanta, then you look at if you're not in the postseason, the woulda, coulda, shoulda, and the certain games, and
they don't have anyone to blame but themselves.
Right?
So.
And when you control, and it's been as of late that Rams game. But it just goes to show you, then we think the Giants were sorry. We played the Giants here. Now, no, LA, the Rams had to go all the way across the country and play in New York. New York had a great chance to beat the Rams. And we just talked about the Cardinals beating the Eagles. It's the NFL. You just don't know. But the Saints came out on top. And the bottom line is that the Saints have always had, the majority of time, the Buccaneers number, Tampa Bay's number.
And still alive.
And still alive. That's it. And I know the Falcons aren't alive as they lose in Chicago to the Bears.
We're going to pause 10 seconds now. Let stations identify themselves on the Community Coffee